My name is Reverend Donna Maurer. I'm the spiritual leader of the Sonoran Desert Center for Spiritual Living in Amado, Arizona. And I'm here on Zoom with our music director, Heather O'Day, and John Lopez, who is serving as our practitioner of the day. We thank you for sharing your time with us, and Heather will open our service by ringing the bells.
Thank you, Reverend Donna. Well, good day, everyone. My name is Heather O'Day, and I am the music director at the center. And I'll invite you to center with us and enjoy our celebration today. And with that, I would like to invite John Lopez, our practitioner, to give our invocation today.
Thank you, Heather. It's my pleasure to be here today with all of you and to do our opening invocation. So if you wish, from wherever you are, I invite you to relax and settle into your chair and close your eyes. Know with me that there is only God, everywhere and equally present, filling all space. It lives, moves, and has its being in, through, as, and is all creation, including you and me. We are divine, perfect expressions of spirit, and we are one with it and with each other. So in this unity, I declare and affirm that this service is already a perfect divine idea in the mind of God, and it unfolds perfectly through Heather's beautiful music and the inspired words of Reverend Donna. I'm grateful for this truth, and I release it into divine mind now for perfect manifestation. And so it is. Namaste.
Thank you, John, for your beautiful inspirational words. And with that, this is a song about what would you do if you were brave, if you had something to face. And I think that as a nation and as a planet, we have plenty to face right now, and we have an opportunity to be brave and stand tall in that knowledge that the universe is there for us. And this is a song by Janice Stanfield that I've known for a very long time. I do if I knew that I could not fail. If I believed with the wind always fill up my sail, how far would I go? What could I achieve? Trusting the hero in me. If I were brave, I'd walk the razor's edge, where true believers dare to tread and never lose faith, even when losing my way. What step would I take today if I were brave? What would I do today if I were brave? What would I do today if I were brave? What would I today? If I were brave, what would I do today? If I were brave. What if we're all meant to do what we secretly dream? What would you ask if you knew you could have anything? Like a mighty oak sleeps in the heart of a sea, build their miracles in me. If I were brave, I'd walk the razor's edge, where true believers dare to tread. I'd never lose faith, even when losing my way. What step would I take today if I were brave? If I refuse to listen to the voice of fear, or the voice of courage whisper in my ear, I am brave enough to move ahead, where true believers dare to tread, and never lose faith, even when losing my way. What step will I take today? I am brave. What will I do 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 today? I am brave. And yes, you are brave. In this time, we are all brave. And with that, I'd like to invite Reverend Donna to give her message for this week. Thank you.
Hi, everybody. Today I've chosen as our topic, standing firm when our world shakes. And you know I like stories, so let's begin with this one. One day a farmer's donkey fell down into a dry well. The animal cried piteously for hours as the farmer tried to figure out what to do. And finally he came to the conclusion that there was nothing he could possibly do to save the animal. He reasoned, well, that he was very old and the well needed to be covered up anyway. So perhaps the most humane thing to do, rather than to allow the animal to slowly die in the well, would be to cover him up with dirt to facilitate a quicker death. He invited all his neighbors to come over and help him, and they all grabbed shovels and began to shovel dirt into the well. When the donkey realized what was happening, he cried even more loudly than before. And then, to everybody's amazement, he quieted down. A few shovel loads later, the farmer finally looked down the well and was astonished at what he saw. With every shovel of dirt that hit his back, the donkey would shake it off, stomp on it, and take a step up. As the farmer's neighbors continued to shovel dirt on top of the animal, he would shake it off, stomp on it, and take a step up. And pretty soon, everybody was amazed as the donkey stepped up over the edge of the well and trotted off. Life is going to shovel dirt on us, all kinds of dirt. The trick to getting out of the well is to shake it off, stomp it down, and take a step up. You and I have had those experiences of crisis, of dark nights, and yet we're still here. We still smile. We still laugh. We still realize how very lucky we are because we have been able to transform the dirt that life throws up at us into new meaning and new paths. In fact, for many of us, it has been those in the well experiences that have been the catalyst for our greatest transformations. When I lived in Los Angeles, I went to a nail salon every 2 weeks. And I sat next to a man named Ben who was always happy and had a good word for everybody. He lived alone and he made cookies for all the women who worked in the salon. One time I heard him say, "Mary, I know you don't like chocolate chips, so I made lemon bars for you." And one day I noticed the numbers tattooed on his arm. And I asked him about it. He said that he was living in Holland as a very young teen. His family was hiding a Jewish family. They were caught, and everyone was hauled away to the concentration camps. He was the only survivor of his family. So I asked him, "Ben, with all you've been through, how can you be so full of joy?" And he looked at me with beautiful brown eyes and said, "Because, Donna, I have learned that life is precious." Mythologist and author Joseph Campbell, when asked about the meaning of life, said, "I believe that life as such has no meaning. We give meaning to it." And in his book, Why Bad Things Happen to Good People, Rabbi Harold Kushner says, "Let me suggest that the bad things that happen to us in our lives do not have a meaning when they happen to us. They do not happen for any good reason which would cause us to accept them willingly. But we can give them meaning. We can redeem these tragedies from senselessness by imposing meaning on them." So many people are using this time of staying at home as a way to find meaning through this meaningless pandemic. Some are getting in touch with their spiritual side, meditating more, reading inspirational books, listening to sweet music. Or perhaps this time alone has given us the opportunity to see, as Ben did, how precious life is. Every sunset, every moonrise, every new shoot, every bird song, all coming together to proclaim the majesty and the beauty of life. What I know is that every crisis puts us in touch with what is really important. We see the pettiness in a held resentment. We find it necessary to mend past wounds. I have a friend whose brother called him this past week after a 20-year estrangement. The relationships that were taken for granted become top priorities. So many of our members, as seniors, are delighted that their children and grandchildren are checking in on a more frequent basis. So if you think about it, you and I have always used our experiences to create meanings for our lives, especially those that shake our world. And I trust we are reaching out at this time, sharing both our joys and our sorrows, for that is a fullness of who we are. Often those of us in religious science in this teaching believe that we should only share the good things. We believe that if we are feeling bad, if we're going through a dark night of the soul, that we have failed in some way. And so we don't want others to know, and we don't share that. Yet the two greatest gifts we can give one another is the sharing of our joy and the sharing of our grief. And that's because when we share our joy and grief with someone else, that person is allowed to give back their greatest gift, which is compassion. I had a dear friend in Florida. His name was Rabbi J.R. Davis. And he told me a story about his grandfather who taught at a Jewish high school. The high school wanted to put on a play about ways of finding God. And he asked J.R.'s grandfather if he would write something and help produce it. J.R.'s grandfather was a very humble man, but he agreed to try. They told him that he could use a whole bunch of students, how many ever he needed for the play, and that they had a full warehouse of props that were at his disposal. After a few days, he came back to the administration and said that he would need 3 students. And for props, he asked for a single bench. On the night of the performance, when the curtain came up, there were the 3 students seated on the bench. The first boy rose and said, "I come from a very poor family. My fervent desire is to go to college, to be the first in my family to graduate. Yesterday, I received word that I had been granted a scholarship. My dream is coming true. I was elated, filled with joy beyond measure, and it was in that intense joy that I found God. He sat down and the second student stood. I too come from a very poor family. From the day I started school, I knew I wanted to go to college. It's been my lifelong dream. Yesterday, I received word that my request for a scholarship was rejected. I was heartbroken. I cried into my pillow most of the night. And somewhere, in the midst of my deepest agony, I found God. He returned to the bench and the third boy came forward. I was with my friend when he got the news that he had received his scholarship to college. I shared his joy. I jumped up and down with him. I hugged him and I kissed him. And I was with my friend who received news that he did not receive a scholarship. I shared his grief. My heart broke with his. I cried with him and I held him. And with both of my friends, I found in myself a deep compassion that I had not known existed. And in that compassion, I found God. The third boy went back to sit on the bench, and the curtain closed. You know, whether we realize it or not, we're on this earth to experience the eternality, the immense mystery of what we call the divine presence and what we and others call God. Not God as a distant entity for which we must search outside of ourselves, but the innermost part of us that transcends all earthly experiences and is the firm foundation upon and within which we truly live. Our world is shaking today as we watch this pandemic spread, not knowing where it will end. We watch as a possible recession seems to loom on the horizon. So this whole idea of shaking it off, stomping it down, and stepping on up takes up a completely different dimension. If we're to stand firm when our world shakes, then what we are shaking off are the fears of an impermanent world. What we are stomping down is the belief that what we see and face right now is the only reality. And what we are stepping up to is faith in the ability of the universe and our own ability to go forth with a peace that passes all understanding. We, you and I, can be the healing light in a shaking world as we step into the greater mystery of ourselves as divine beings with all the aspects of that divinity: love, truth, beauty, harmony, peace, abundance. Knowing that this is the truth of our being, we can stand firm as the world shakes. And for any doubt or fear that makes its way into our consciousness, let's take a lesson from the donkey. Shake it up, stomp on it, and step on up. Thank you. Namaste.
Thank you, Reverend Donna. So this week I have a song that absolutely aligns with your message for this week. And those are the little synchronicities that we enjoy so much at our center that I deeply miss. But even here in the electronic space, it's happening. And that is delightful. This is called The Healing Light of Love by Penny Nichols. What a name, huh? Penny Nichols. Talk about good luck. From 2007, or possibly even the year 2000. There are 2 copyrights here. But this is a song that is about standing firm in the face of adversity. When your whole world is shaking, you stand firm and you learn about what you are becoming. Every life darkness falls, look around, you've lost it all. loved ones can't be there, oh, who will you call? Just remember who you are, a miracle child of the stars. When your world is all gone wrong, come and sing this song. I am becoming stronger, I am becoming whole. I walk in beauty, in the healing light of love, in the healing, in the healing, in the healing light of love. Some things in life just can't be shared, or redone and repaired. Look inside to find this song and forgive and move on. I am becoming stronger, I am becoming whole. I walk in beauty, in the healing light of love, in the healing, in the healing, in the healing light of love. So open up your heart and mind, let your will of light shine. Let the world be your friend, you'll get back the love you sent. 'Cause I am becoming stronger, I am becoming whole. I walk in beauty, in the healing light of love, in the healing, in the healing, in the healing light of love, in the healing light of love. Thank you. Namaste.
Thank you, Heather, and thank you for joining us today. We would like to continue our messages and would appreciate your financial support. Please visit our website, www.cslaz.org, and click on the donate button. And we thank you for your consideration. And now I turn our service over to John Lopez for our closing affirmative prayer.
So right here and right now, I recognize the divine power that is everywhere present, all good, all the time, filling all space. I not only recognize it, I feel it, I know it, I am one with it. I feel and know Spirit working in, as, and through me, allowing me to know that all is well, right here and right now, in this moment, the next, and in each moment after that. And so I speak my word of wellness for now, and from this moment forward, I know, declare, and affirm that this divine presence exists in each and every one of us, here and throughout the world. It is all good, all the time, and independent of any existing conditions or circumstances. I know that this God principle, and it is the foundation upon which I base my life, knowing that God is everywhere present, all good, continuously in my life and in the lives of each and every person, working, moving, living in and as and through all people. And so with deep gratitude and thanksgiving, I release my word, this truth, into subjective mind for immediate manifestation in the highest, best good of all concerned. I declare it done, and so it is.